עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן, ואמרו אמן. May the one who gives us peace help us to help each other, to spread that peace to the whole wide world. And let us say amen. 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 And let us say, and let us say amen. Bethelofc shalom b'romav, help us to help each other, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, ve'imru, and let us say amen, ve'imru, and let us say amen, ve'imru, and let us say amen, and let us say amen, and let us say, and let us say amen, ve'imru, ve'imru, amen.
Good morning. On behalf of Beth-El Congregation, I welcome all of you to Beth-El Congregation's annual fundraiser. Beth-El Congregation is a warm, welcoming, inclusive community, a sacred community. But we're a human institution, and like any other human institution, it takes money to run this place. It takes money to pay our professionals. It takes money to run the religious school.
Excuse me, Mr. Simon.
Yes, sir.
Do you know who I am?
No, tell me, who are you?
I'm for Crocodile Dundee, and I've come to present you with your own boomerang.
A boomerang?
Oh yeah, now look at it. Look at it real close.
Oh, look, oh, outstanding. Oh, look, this boomerang has like the numbers 18 and multiples of 18.
Oh my God, so tell me, what does that mean?
Well, 18 is this really important Jewish thing.
So it's like high, right?
It's like high, because like in the Hebrew alphabet, every letter has numerical value.
Okay, so this one's got 18, right?
Yeah, when you take the Hebrew word high, which is has a chet and a yud, that has the numerical value of 18.
All right, so let me ask you a question. I've got my yarmulke here.
That like means life.
All right, so I got my yarmulke here. Can you guess how many clips there are on the yarmulke?
Don't know how many.
Tie my yarmulke down, mate. Tie my yarmulke down. Tie my yarmulke down, mate. Tie my yarmulke down. It's got 18.
18?
It takes 18 clips to put it on this guy.
That's amazing.
Well, you know what? You call that a boomerang? That's a boomerang.
Oh, wow. Outstanding.
I hope to God it's off.
There are many aspects of the Beth-El community that help the Mecklenburgers feel welcome and supported from the time we got here to this day after retirement. When we got to town, I immediately found, as new rabbi, that we had a good board, and I have had one president after another. I don't think I have ever had a bad one. I thought I might tell you the story. Sheldon Anisman was president when we arrived, but was very soon after followed by Harold Winston. And Harold was thought of as kind of a curmudgeonly guy, but actually he was a sweetheart. And one day, since we only lived a half a block apart, I had something I had to discuss with him and called him, and he said, "Sure, come on down." And I said to my son, then four-ish, I don't know, 3.5 or 4, "You want to take a walk down to see Mr. Winston?" "Sure." So off we went. We walked into his house after knocking, and Alan looked and said, "Where's the toys?" And Harold, with grown children, didn't have any toys. So we had a brief conversation, but the next time we came, Harold had gone out and equipped the house with toys so he could make us feel welcome. And in fact, I have always said that the most important thing on a Friday night or whenever services are is not only the service, but is the oneg and the sense of community that we can create. So, I mean, even today, there are still volunteer greeters, but it's important that everybody in the congregation make newcomers feel welcome, because if we don't create community, we are not going to have a successful synagogue. But I think it's, we have a reputation for being a particularly friendly congregation.
The temple has really played an important part in our family life, and I think in the family life of many members. We moved here, we didn't have any family. There were others that live here that didn't have family close by. So they started a family activities committee. And basically we would meet every probably 2 months or so. Oftentimes just a fun activity. Sometimes it had a religious thing, like maybe something at Sukkot. And then over the years, some of these people, we started doing holidays together, and our children really grew up together. And here, we used to only have bar mitzvahs on Friday nights in the old building, and everybody would bake for each other for their large Oneg Shabbats after the service, and help each other out as much as they could.
There have been many special events in our lives since we've been here for 4 decades now that we shared with the Beth-El community. In particular, of course, our children coming of age, a bar and a bat mitzvah, and then a wedding. It was wonderful to have all of our friends and family from out of town, as well as the ones in town, come and meet one another. And first we were at the old building, but by the time we got to bar and bat mitzvah, it was here in this wonderful new facility. When my daughter got married, I wondered, and I'm sure I'm not the first clergy person to face this, but we hadn't thought about it. If we're going to walk her down the aisle, am I going to do that all dressed up as the officiant, or, you know, what should we do? So we hit on putting my talit that said I was the officiant up on the bimah, but then we walked in when it was the time to, you know, come down the aisle with the bride, and Anne stood where she was going to stand, and I turned around and put on the talit and did the ceremony. And as I was talking to the couple, I mentioned the Esther story, where there's a dark Easterner that she becomes part of the family of, and she looks at him and says, "Yeah, that's true."
So the night before, we had a Oneg Shabbat here at the temple, and invited the whole congregation to come, and that way, so they could meet the bride and groom, and we could have a more modified celebration to include everybody. The connections that you make through the congregation tend to be more than just somebody that's a friend that you meet in other ways, because you do share these spiritual life cycles with them. And they really understand what those ceremonies mean.
The architecture of the temple is supposed to remind us of Jerusalem, and the limestone really works very well. It's a wonderful new, 20 years old now, but a wonderful facility. But when it was new, there were several people who were upset at onegs that kids were running around with cookies and the crumbs were getting on the furniture and that sort of thing, which led me at the next Holy Days to tell people that when we had been with a temple group traveling to Europe, to Prague, we had arranged to go to a worship service at one of these ancient synagogues in Prague, except nobody was there. They didn't open the door. We were pounding, what's going on? And so, and finally a janitor came out and said, what's the problem here? I said, we had arranged in advance with our guide and our travel agent to come to services here. And he said, oh, well, it's not really a synagogue, it's a museum. So the next Holy Days, after people were upset about crumbs getting on the furniture in the gathering area, I was able to say, I know it upsets people that things are going to wear out here, but it's not really a museum, it's a synagogue.
Hi, my name is Michelle Hartman. This is my husband, Corey, my daughter, Haley, my son, Zach. We are members of Beth-El since 2003. We have a few very meaningful events here at Beth-El. Most of them come back to the bar mitzvah of my daughter Haley, the bar mitzvah of my son Zach, and then followed up by their weddings here, both at Beth-El. They were just wonderful family events, and it made us feel a part of Beth-El and the Beth-El family. We had so many members here come and join us that have become part of our family over the years.
One of my favorite memories at Beth-El is growing up here. We had a big youth room with a pool table, TVs, we had lock-ins, we had lots of different events for the kids. It was just a really great experience growing up Jewish with fellow kids. A person at Beth-El that's made a difference for me is Edith Cohen. She introduced me to being a welcomer on Friday nights, and it's helped me feel very welcome in our community and also helping welcome new members, and she's just making a huge impact on me.
One time that the temple helped us through a difficult situation was when my mom was diagnosed with invasive tongue cancer. A lot of the members of particularly WRJ, but the temple at large, came together and just made sure that we had all of the food that we would need throughout the time that she was going through her chemo and her recovery, and it was really meaningful and really helped us out through that time.
When I volunteer with WRJ, I feel really connected with the community and my sisters. I've been president for I don't even know how many years anymore, but it's so spiritual to be able to connect with my sisters, connect with all the women of the temple, and to really be able to get through hard times and good times and such friendships that I've made. I can't even begin to tell you how much it's meant to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you know what holiday's coming up?
Passover.
Passover, that's good. What do you love to put on your matzah? Like what toppings?
Soup.
Soup?
Matzo ball soup.
Oh, matzo ball soup, okay. What's your favorite part about Passover?
It's probably spending time with my family.
Spending time with your family?
Yeah.
Can you name any of the 10 pegs from the Passover story?
Yes, I can. The frog.
Frogs, that's good.
Yeah. I think that's all I can answer.
Yeah, okay. If you were to give your dog or cat a Jewish name, what would it be?
I would name one of my cats probably Isaac. Not gonna lie.
It's a good name.
I'm David Beckerman.
I'm Erica Beckerman, and these are our 4 children, Elliot, Levi, Dylan, and Landry, and we have been members of Beth-El for a little over 15 years. Beth-El is so special and important to us because of the religious school. We live in Mansfield, and our kids are the only Jewish kids at their schools. So especially around the holidays, it's tough sometimes, but they get to come here every Sunday and be in such a positive environment with such amazing teachers and other Jewish kids, and it provides them with such a great community here. This is our home. This place is so special to us. And we love the special programs that Shoshana puts on, such as the Purim Carnival that we just had, where they got to have Kona ice and pet animals and face painting and all sorts of fun events that go on here. Okay, so after we got married, we had a few years that we weren't super involved, but when our oldest was 2, they taught Shabbats pretty regularly here, and that's really what got us in the door. So we started coming to Friday night services with her, and it was centered around the little kids. It was engaging for them, which then led us right into religious school, and we signed her up for class, and then her siblings just followed right along. But it gave us such a community on Friday nights to come here and do that with her. Well, I would say we've become more involved since we've been here. He sat on the board. I'm currently on the board. I head our education committee. Our daughter is about to have her bat mitzvah in October, and I think she's pretty ready for that. We're getting there. Well, when we first joined, he grew up at a different synagogue in the area, but there weren't a lot of young families. So we knew we wanted to join somewhere with active young families, and actually Mark Sloter was the one who introduced us first to people. He was on the welcoming committee and brought us in and welcomed us to the temple, and we got to meet a lot of families here, and from day one, everybody was very welcoming to us, even before we had children. Well, we got married here, so that was obviously memorable. All of our kids had their baby namings, events here. She will have a bat mitzvah here in October. So every important life event has occurred here. So yes, I would definitely say so, yeah.
My name is Al Abrams. I'm originally from Buenos Aires, Argentina. Lived there for about 9 years. Came to Los Angeles for about 55, 56 years. Then we moved to Fort Worth, Texas, about 3.5 years ago, and joined Beth-El. One of the reasons is our daughter, Shoshana Kaikov, is the education director here and cantor. And we love coming here. We are just so comfortable with the environment here. We love coming in on a Sunday morning and just sitting around the couch and enjoying ourselves and meeting new people.
I'm Vicki Abrams. As my husband said, we have been members here for about 3.5 years when we moved to Fort Worth. I'm originally from Cuba. In 1960, my family moved to America. Both of us we grew up conservative, leaning more toward reform. It's not like we did Shabbat services on a regular basis, but we did observe holidays. And that's one of the reasons that we feel so comfortable here at Beth-El, because of the holidays and just the warmth that there is over here. Beth-El has definitely contributed to my personal growth. I read Torah, and here at Beth-El, I am afforded the opportunity to read Torah pretty frequently. I read on Friday nights occasionally, and I've also been given the opportunity to read on the high holidays, which is very, very meaningful to me.
One of the things that we find totally enriching to us as grandparents is, one of our grandson coming home after Hebrew school, and he's got all these songs and prayers all memorized, and he's singing in the car, he's singing at home. And I ask him, what is that? Oh, I just learned that this morning in Hebrew school. So he's trying to show me and teach me how to sing those things and gives me the words.
Yes, we definitely cavil with our grandson, but also with our granddaughters. All three of them, they love the Jewish music, and you can hear them saying prayers for Shabbat or for the holidays, and there's such a sense of pride when we hear them reciting and singing. It's just, it makes us feel wonderful.
It really gives me joy walking in the doors and the greeters say hello, and you run into everybody in the lobby before services, walking into services, and everybody knows you, or there's somebody new and you reach across the aisle and you introduce yourself. It's just very, very warm atmosphere.
It gives me joy, everything that Al just finished saying, but also when I see how many children are in the religious school, and the children are our future, and I've seen the school grow over the last several years, and the kids are getting a wonderful fundamental Jewish education, and as I said, they are our future. So it's great to see so many kids participating and learning.
And thriving.
And thriving.
Do you know what holiday is coming up?
Passover.
Okay. What is your favorite Passover food?
Matzah.
Matzah. Okay. Can you name any of the 10 plagues from the Passover story?
No.
No. Okay. And what do you win if you find the Afikomen?
Money.
Money, that's pretty good. Okay.
Every time I enter Beth-El, I'm proud of our past and how we have incorporated our past into the present. Isn't that what Reform Judaism is? Our beautiful building opened in 2000 as the century was beginning. These giant 8-foot-tall menorahs were quarried and carved in 1920, 80 years earlier. They were on the front of our old building. We brought them with us when this building was under construction. One day, an old stonemason was watching, and he told the building committee chair that if you were to commission those carved menorahs today, each one would cost $75,000. There are no longer stonemasons who do that sort of work. So we have invaluable sculptures on the front of our building. Look at the 4 metal gates. Each has a sunburst of rays emanating from a Star of David. They are also an echo of our past. This lovely design originated in 1949 when a designer rebuilding the temple after a devastating fire drew this design. When we tour inside, I'll show you the original gate from which this was modeled. Everything in our building echoes past, present, and even the future as Reform Judaism evolves and remains relevant in our lives. Our congregation was organized in 1902. You may read the Texas Historic Marker over there for more details. Just know that we began more than 120 years ago with 43 families. Many of them were interrelated by family ties or business ties. Some were American-born, some were immigrants. Some had fought in the Civil War for the Union and others for the Confederacy. We had diversity from the very start. And our building reflects our past. It's constructed of white limestone quarried from the Texas Hill Country. It reminded the architect of the white limestone associated with Jerusalem. You can feel the spirituality at the entrance. As we enter, the spaces get closer and closer and become more intimate. Look at the cornerstones that we have embedded in the wall. They're in Hebrew and English. At our previous building, which opened in 1920, there was no Hebrew on the exterior. In the post-World War I era, Jews wanted to be 100% American without a hint of being foreign-born. When this building was constructed in 2000, we were proud of being hyphenated Americans. When the congregation decided to move here, everyone in the congregation filled out a questionnaire and wrote down what we wanted in a new building. People said they wanted light, natural light. Let there be light. In the past, a century ago, religious buildings had dark, spiritual spaces. But today, we connect spirituality with the outdoors. We want to see a tree in bloom and a bird flying from limb to limb. That gives us an outdoor feel and a feeling of spirituality with the universe. As we get to the front door, look, it's shaped like, what is that? That's the letter Shin in the Hebrew alphabet. Shin stands for Shalom, which means hello, goodbye, and peace. As we enter, you see we have very large windows, and the building is constructed of natural materials. Inside, if you just look to your left, these are our parade of rabbis. Most of the rabbis, there's 14 of them, served a decade or more, and the last two served on the pulpit more than 30 years. They reflect the stability of our congregation. The temple is arranged like the spokes on a wheel. At the center, there's a gathering area where everything comes together like spokes on a wheel. Up there, you'll see there's a Judaica shop. It started in the 1960s in a janitorial closet converted into a little store. There was a woman whose husband was a jeweler, and whenever she went to New York, she came back with stuff to sell. At that time, in the 60s, it was impossible to buy Shabbat candles, bar mitzvah cards, and such like that in Fort Worth. But people here needed it. They began ordering and ordering. Today, when we moved here, the shop expanded, and it is just a beautiful emporium. This next spoke of the wheel is the education wing. Come take a peek. We have all the confirmation pictures, class pictures, beginning in 1905. Most of the kids are identified. To identify them, though, it was difficult. I didn't know these people. So I made a photocopy of every single class, put them into these 3-ring binders, and several women in their 70s and 80s took their little confirmation class binders everywhere they went, especially to the beauty parlor. They were going to run into other people who knew the Jewish community from years past. There was recognition, and we did it. See their hairstyles? Robes came in at the beginning of the 30s. You can see from the background how the buildings changed. We had a first building downtown on Taylor Street. Then we moved to another building at Galveston and Broadway, and you can see the interior changes before the fire, which occurred in 1946, and after the fire when we reopened in 1948. Now we're going out another door into a courtyard. The building committee wanted to have a work of art in every single courtyard. Initially, they talked about commissioning sculptors, but when we realized what the bottom line was going to be on this building, they changed their tune. And when we got an estimate for stripping the old building of everything on the facade, the designers and the building committee began to realize that those could be works of art too. At the very tippy top of the old building was the 10 Commandments. You could hardly see it from the street. When they took it down, that's what we have outside, the 10 Commandments that for 80 years nobody could see except their shape. Now you can see the Hebrew words, and you can also see how pollution pitted it over the decades. In our old building, we had 72 lights like these. They were assembled to look like a flock of doves that were flying up to the heavens. The only place they could find to reuse them here was in the Beth-El Cafe, so we have 6 that remind us of the past.
Do you guys know what holiday's coming up?
Passover. Passover.
Okay. What is y'all's favorite Passover food?
The apple stuff that goes on the matzah. Oh, I don't know. Wait, is apples and honey? No,
That's what she just said. The same thing. Y'all like the... Okay. Do you guys eat gefilte fish?
Yes, I think. I don't know. I think
like
I do.
White fish thing.
Is it small? Is it small?
It's probably the size of your hand.
Oh no, I don't.
Can you name any of the 10 plagues from the Passover show?
Frogs.
Do you know any more?
Fish.
No.
Aliens.
Aliens?
Aliens.
That would have been cool.
Aliens.
Okay. Where's your favorite place in the temple?
Library. The library or the playground.
Who's the main character of the story of Passover?
I forgot his name. Wait, it starts with a...
No,
I forgot Elijah.
No, well...
Elijah? I forgot his name. I know what you're talking about. I forgot his name. Not your brother.
Starts with an M.
Moses. We remember.
What is your favorite Passover food?
Matzah.
What do you like to put on your matzah? Or do you like to eat it plain?
I like to eat it plain.
What is your favorite part about Sunday school?
That we get to learn all kinds of new stuff.
And can you sing part of your favorite prayer or Jewish song?
Yeah. I forgot the rest.
Hi, my name is Samay DeWeese Cooper, And I've been a member here for just about 15 years.
My name is Mark Cooper, and I've been a member here at Beth-El for about 15 years as well. The events that Beth-El Temple has had throughout the year have helped me get inspired to be part of the community, and they've helped bring the community to me, especially in exploring some of the traditions of Judaism.
And so I enjoy teaching religious school here at Beth-El. I just enjoy seeing the kids participate and have different Jewish experiences. And then I also, one of the things that helps me feel part of the community is our daily minyan service. We come together, a few of us every day, to just say our prayers and to remember those who have passed away. And so that's a very meaningful thing. 15 years ago, we were at a point that we were looking for a change and we were going to do something different. And we decided that we would come to Beth-El, and it's been, the whole experience has been very meaningful for us. And so we've been very much just made to feel a part of the community. And once we started coming, it was hard to think about going anywhere else.
And for me, my family and I moved here in the 60s from Kansas City, Missouri. We were members of the synagogue for over 56 years. And we decided we would make a change together as we started our life a little bit differently many years ago. And we were looking for a change, a little different atmosphere, a little different way of looking at things. And the temple just seemed to fulfill that need for both of us. Well, it's nice to be able to see the congregation grow, and with the students coming in and new blood and confirmation, bar and bar mitzvah services, it's refreshing to know that that's going to be our new leaders of tomorrow, and will carry on the tradition of Judaism, its culture and its lore and its life.
Welcome back. I have the great pleasure to inform you that we've thus far raised about $80,000. Our goal, of course, for this fundraiser is at least 100. We're 80% of the way there, and we appreciate every donation. One of the things we understand is that for some people, $25,000 is walking around money, and for some people, $25 is a major sacrifice. That's the real world. We understand that. But please, give of your heart. Every gift of the heart helps us get to where we need to be. Oh, look.
So let me ask you a quick question.
Are you Dr. Dollar?
I am Dr. Dollar. Now, I have a question. I've noticed that you've raised $80,000 so far. Is this correct?
Yes, Dr. Dollar.
Well, we need to raise more. How are we going to get there?
Dr. Dollar. Well, people can write checks. They can go to our website. They can make donations directly on the website. Is there a better way?
Dollars make the temple sound, the temple sound, the temple sound. The HVAC ain't gonna fix itself. So, write a big old check. Just write a big old check.
Thank you, Dr. Dollar. That's an important message. You can write a big old check, or you can just go to the website, scan the QR code. Now, let's talk about some of the things your money might do.
Now, one of the things that we know we can do with that money, and a good way to get that money, is to donate appreciated stock.
You mean like stock in companies?
Like companies. I bet someone's got a little bit of Apple laying around in their portfolio.
So my name is Eve Schulman. I joined Congregation Beth-El in 2007. I was married in this temple, and being a Fort Worth native, it was easy for me to walk in this temple and see a lot of familiar faces, and of course it was so welcoming, and it felt just like a second home when our family decided to join. Rabbi Mecklenburger welcomed my son, Ryan, in 2008, and he was present for his bris, And then we've had 15 years of Ryan in the religious school, having just so many positive experiences. He's still active, which I'm very proud of. Enjoys religious school every Sunday and is engaged in his religious and spiritual Jewish identity. So I would say that the religious school has had an amazing impact on him and our family, and has really solidified our teachings of what it means to be Jewish, and for him and also for our family. Ryan had his bar mitzvah at the temple 2 years ago, and it was a wonderful experience. All my family and friends commented on what an amazing experience it was. They had, a lot of friends had never been to a bar mitzvah before, and it was really special for them to see all the hard work that he put in, and all the traditions and education and learning Hebrew. And it was just a phenomenal experience and very moving for my family to have that alongside him. I would say him reading from the Torah was one of my proudest moments, and I will forever remember that as one of the best days of my life and our family's lives. One of the most special things that I can think about is being engaged and active at the temple, and the community that surrounds me gives me so much support and energy and positive thoughts, and it is just such a gift to be a part of this community and share my life and other people's lives when we all get together. So some of my most special events or memories of events would be our activities with WRJ, whether it's cooking in the kitchen or wreath making or those Thursday night happy hours. That sisterhood and camaraderie and relationships that I have built with the women of this temple is something that I could never get anywhere else. So I cherish those moments and look forward to spending more times and simchas with WRJ and the temple.
Hi, I'm Rick Press, and I've been a member of Beth-El since about 2001 when I moved to Fort Worth with my wife. I'm a member of the board, and my wife has been a president of WRJ and a member of the board as well. My son has been bar mitzvahed at Beth-El, and we're very happy to be part of this community. What makes me feel welcome at Beth-El is pretty much everything. I have to admit, I'm not really much of a joiner, and I didn't know if I needed a temple in my life when we moved to Fort Worth. I had kind of fallen away from it when I lived in Lexington, Kentucky for a while for my job, and when my wife Liz and I first came to Beth-El and met some of the people, we just immediately felt welcome here, and we just continued to come, but there was never any pressure to join. They were just happy to have us, and we began to make friends, and then we adopted our son Nathan, and we decided that we wanted him to go to religious school here, and that just kind of kept going from there. And now he's 20 years old. We're still involved with Beth-El. My wife and I very happily do the Beth-El bulletin every month. I'm on the board, have been on the board for 3 years. My wife was co-president of WRJ and continues to be very active, and we consider Beth-El a part of our family. So over the time that we've been members at Beth-El, there have been a lot of experiences that we remember, but nothing really kind of compares to my son Nathan's bar mitzvah. you know, it's such a rite of passage. He worked with Cantor Sherry and Rabbi so closely, and Nathan, he just took to it. And, you know, that day he was up there and surrounded by all of our family and friends, and I couldn't have been more proud to be his father and to be a member of Beth-El.
Do you know what holiday's coming up?
Passover.
Passover, good. What's your favorite Passover food?
Matzo ball soup.
Matzo ball soup. Well, that's good. What do you win if you win the Afikomen hunt?
You get money.
Hold up to your mouth.
You get money.
Money. Okay. What's your favorite part about Sunday school?
To learn.
To learn? Okay. What's your favorite place in the temple?
The playground.
Yeah. And then, last one. Do you like to eat gefilte fish? That's that little wet gray thingy that is on the plates on the Passover.
Yes.
Okay. Do you know what holiday's coming up?
Passover.
Passover. What's your favorite Passover food?
The celery in the salt water.
Okay. What do you win if you find the Afikomen? Okay. Where does the story of
Matzah.
Where does the story of Passover take place?
Not that good at this.
You don't know.
I'm not. I'll make a guess. Jerusalem.
Jerusalem? Okay. If you were to give a cat or a dog a Jewish name, what would it be?
Let me think. I just name it Israel.
Israel?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I met someone that's named Israel, so.
Okay. And then, last question, what's your favorite place in the temple?
Probably the sanctuary.
My name is John Siegel. I'm a multi-generational member going all the way back into the 1950s when my mother and father came to Texas, and they used to drive to Fort Worth to attend religious ceremonies. I have 4 brothers. All my brothers have been bar mitzvahed within the organization. Wasn't in this building, but in the old building. Participated in the Torah March from the old building to this building. And I have 3 daughters who have all went through Sunday school here. My wife was a Sunday school teacher for over 10 years. And the daughters have all been bat mitzvahed within this building. And 2 of them have had marriages. The weddings took place within the building as well. So it's a wonderful place. It's a wonderful community. Great place to spend your time, to get fellowship with people with like interests. So my earliest memory of this building is going back to when a man that was my godfather, I used to call him Uncle Irwin. His name was Irwin Krause. He was part of the building, the engineering, design, and actual construction of this new building. We did a Torah march from the old facility to the new facility, and it was my earliest memory of this new facility. I had gone into law enforcement 30 plus years ago and participated in the law enforcement capacity in order to maintain safety and numbers of the people walking and doing the Torah march. And that's my earliest memories of coming and being at this building.
Hello, I'm Julie Goldstein. My parents, Selma and Irwin Krause, raised all of their children here at Beth-El. In the late 1990s, when construction of a new synagogue was on the horizon, my dad, whose career was in real estate development, was asked to become the building chairman to oversee this important project, and he accepted the challenge. My mom, Selma, was diagnosed with cancer in 1997 and died just weeks before the groundbreaking of the new temple in 1998. My dad was overwhelmed and distraught during this time. However, before my mom got too sick, she made it very clear to my dad, Rabbi, and Ann Mecklenburger that he should absolutely continue as the building chair for Beth-El after her death, as it will be a meaningful and productive way to help the Jewish community and process his grief. As usual, she was right, and he did as she asked. Towards the end of the building process, as a way to recognize his love for his family, especially our mom, Erwin commissioned a sculptor, Victor Issa, in Loveland, Colorado, to create this piece which resides in this garden. My dad asked all of his kids for help by providing photographs, home videos, and movies of Mom, all the while not disclosing to us that he had plans for this sculpture. He worked privately with the artist for over a year. He named this Once Upon a Time, and it displays my mom reading a book to a young girl on her lap. This young girl is me, with my older sister Tricia listening to the story with one of our many cats by her side. My mom was an English major at the University of Wisconsin, where she met Erwin, so this was a very fitting title. She loved reading to her kids and all her grandkids. I get so much pleasure knowing that this bench and garden are a welcoming place for people to come learn about Beth-El or have some quiet time for reflection and prayer. I've also seen religious school kids come sit out here, even climb and play in this area, which is exactly what it's designed for. Beth-El will always hold a special place for me in my heart, and being here with my family makes it even more so.
What is your favorite Passover food?
Matzo ball soup.
What do you like best about Passover?
It's about having fun.
What is your favorite part about Sunday school?
Learning new things.
And where is your favorite part in the temple?
Outside.
We walk in here, your eyes are drawn to the stained glass. It's so beautiful, it's so colorful. The palette has 42 or 45 different colors of stained glass. At the center is a big burst of light. It's like a burning bush. Light became the theme of the new congregation. On the left is a shofar, or I like to see it as a cornucopia, just full of plenty. And on the right, the theme is the tree of life. I also love to look at the top. There's stars up there, like there's stars in the firmament, and at the bottom, I imagine there's little fish swimming around. Now, when this room was being constructed, you see the 10 Commandments up there, how they're carved, they're flat. When the rabbi had been away for the summer on sabbatical, and when he came back, to his astonishment, when he looked at the 10 Commandments, he saw a misspelled word. Nobody else had realized it. So they had to return one of these tablets back to the quarry, back to the sculptor, back to the carver, and they had to do it again. Well, it's everything spelled right now, but you can tell that one of the carvers had a heavier hand than the other. Take a look and see if you can figure out which one it is. My favorite room at the temple is the Hall of Remembrance. It's a mini museum about Beth-El. Straight ahead is the old ark, and you can see that sunburst design. This is the one that dates from 1949, when the temple was refurbished and reopened. This is the design that the architect of this temple repeated in different proportions and put at the front of the congregation. It gives unity to past and present, to old and new. In this room, look up, crane your neck, and you can see stained glass circles at the very top of the room. We call these medallions. They were in the stained glass in our old house of worship. Each one represents one of the tribes of Israel. There were actually, there were 36 stained glass in the old building. They were inside a palette of blue and yellow, and inside you had a picture, and each of these pictures was a religious object from Europe, from the time before the Holocaust. Now, in the back of the room, we've got names. Every plaque that was in the old building. And in a way, this was discouraging. As we were getting ready to move, people said, well, what are we going to do with these old plaques? Look, some of them are tarnished, some of them are bent, they're dirty. We don't want them in our brand new, beautiful building. But every time someone was packing up their office and they opened a file drawer, they found more plaques, because every time a room was remodeled or redecorated, a new plaque was created to thank whoever donated money. So what should we do with them? It was quite an argument back and forth. We don't want them. Well, but it's so sentimental. And one day, when Michael Appleman was a teenager, he asked me, what are we going to do with all of these? And I said, well, some people just want to throw them out, melt them down. And he said, you know, every time I walk by that plaque at the education building that has my grandfather's name, I feel so proud. Well, I just got chills when I thought about that. And I began to repeat that story to other people. And it made the rounds. And one day, Roz Rosenthal, the main benefactor for the building, said to me, did you hear what Michael Appleman said about his grandfather and the plaques? And then I knew this was going to fly. And the designers, who were not Jewish and not so sentimental, they didn't want to do that. They were, we don't want to save those things. But the building committee told them, you're going to have to come up with a design by Monday night when the board meets, and we'll present it to the board. And sure enough, when challenged, they came up with a wonderful design. Now, out here in the meditation garden, we have there's a quote from Psalm 86. It was also on the facade of our old building. And the story I remember best about this is that when I came in with a bid, I found really a very reasonable bid to remove all of the limestone features from the front of the old building. And that would have been the menorahs, the little Ten Commandments, and this quote. And the quote, and the cost was only $17,000. When you're putting up a building of this size, that's not that much, especially for art. So I came to the building committee. Here's this bid for removing these. Can we use them? Oh, well, yeah, that Ten Commandments, we'll find a place for that. And the rabbi said, I'm not that crazy about the menorahs. There's no Jewish symbolism on them, and I'm not crazy about them. But that quote from Psalms, I know just where that should go. And the architect, David Stanford, he said, I know exactly where I want to put those two menorahs. Bingo. I was so happy we were going to save everything. What I realized in this whole process was that the congregation, this is a congregation that works very well. Since 1902, we've really worked well. As I studied the history of the congregation, I saw there were no major disruptions, believe it or not, over a century. Arguments, yes, disagreements, but not disruptions. We created, and when we moved here, when we decided to move here, we created this campus. It's practical, it's utilitarian, it's spiritual, and it's inspiring. And when we moved here, we observed a very old ancient tradition of carrying the Torahs with us. Our previous building was 7 miles away, and the date to move the Torahs was the end of August in 2000. It was a day when the temperature was over 100 degrees, and hundreds of people came out for the Torah march. Sarah Cohen, who was a seamstress, made terry cloth covers for Torah mantles so that the Torahs wouldn't get dirty, wouldn't get sweaty, and it would be easier to carry them. And we all, several hundred people, marched all the way from 7 miles. We have this beautiful building. We all feel, many of us feel a part of it. And I feel proud of the way this congregation has worked together since 1902. We created this beautiful campus. It's practical, it's utilitarian, it's inspiring, and it's spiritual. Isn't that what everyone wants in a house of worship? Let's keep it going with dedication, volunteer work, and of course, since this is a fundraiser, by digging deep.
Hi, my name is Cantor Shoshana Abrams-Kaikov, and I am so blessed to be able to serve Beth-El Congregation as the Director of Education. Beth-El is truly an incredible congregation. I consider it a kehilah kedosha, a sacred community. We are one big Jewish family here, coming to services and religious school and all kinds of programs that we offer here. It truly feels as though we are part of a warm, welcoming community. It is multi-generational. If you walk into Beth-El on a Sunday morning, you will feel the energy everywhere with our children learning. We have adult ed, WRJ, MRJ with their wonderful programs. It is truly a joyous place to be, and I am so honored to be a part of this wonderful community. One of my favorite memories here at Beth-El was actually this past year when we brought all of our religious school families together at the end of the school year for our religious school Shabbat. We began the evening with a wonderful Shabbat dinner. Thank you, MRJ, for helping out with that as always. And then we moved into the sanctuary, and all of our students helped to lead a beautiful, festive, family-friendly Shabbat service. And then, of course, we ended with an oneg, a beautiful celebration of all of our kids. It was just such a wonderful way to end the school year and bring everyone together for a beautiful celebration of Shabbat together as a big Jewish family, a sacred family. Beth-El Congregation is truly a special place. We have families who come from all Jewish walks of life, and they come from all different parts of DFW on Sunday mornings for services during Shabbat and programs throughout the week. And together we make one big, beautiful family, and we bring to the table so many unique gifts. Even just this morning in our faculty meeting, we were all sharing our favorite Passover traditions, and it was truly a reminder that we all come to the table with unique and beautiful backgrounds, and together we share and celebrate in our diversity within our family. Beth-El does such a wonderful job of meeting each and every family where they're at. And I can give you an example, working with B'nai Mitzvah families. Each student comes to the table with a varying comfort level with what they want to lead during their service. And we work very closely with our students and families to make sure that everyone is comfortable with their experience and their journey here at Beth-El. My favorite thing about serving this community as the Director of Education is inspiring our children in the way of Judaism, making it come to life for them, making it exciting for our kids so that one day they'll go home and say, Mommy, Daddy, I want to celebrate Shabbat at home. I want to say the prayers before we eat. I want to celebrate this holiday at home. The idea is that we want them to be so thrilled and excited about it that they will pass it on, l'dor v'dor, from one generation to the next. I am not only so blessed to be a part of this community, but to also be privileged enough to work in such a beautiful building. And I always tell guests who come to visit Beth-El that there is a magical moment every day when you walk into the sanctuary where there is a rainbow reflected on each and every chair in there, and it brings me so much joy, and it truly feels spiritual to walk in that very moment when there are rainbows painted across every chair.
Hi, I'm Angie Friedman. I've been a member of Beth-El for a little over 20 years, and I'm a Fort Worth native. So many years ago, I joined the volunteer choir here, and it was an amazing connection to the congregation. I was able to share my music and sing in the harmonies and really connect with the prayers and the community. And recently, over the past several years, I've been composing my own music, and Rabbi Zimmerman has been very gracious and allowed me to share that with the congregation during Friday night services or Saturday morning. And that music, that love of music and being able to share it has led me to become a B'nai Mitzvah teacher and to watch the kids grow in the community and be a part of that special day when they turn from children into adults in our community. It's very special, and it means a lot to me. When I talk to other Beth-El members, everybody smiles. It's just a wonderful place, and a place where people feel comfort and warmth and welcome. And I think the board and the community members do an incredible job of trying to make sure that everybody does feel that when they walk through the doors. Everyone is welcome. It's a warm place, and it's a place of comfort. I think it was last year's High Holy Day sermon. The rabbi spoke about cemeteries and thinking about the end of his life and what kind of impact it would make. And he made this beautiful sermon about that, about how when you get to the end of your life, the people around you will know your life story better than you do. And you'll never know exactly the impact that you have on the world, but the people you leave behind will. And that has affected how I walk in the world, is to try to make sure that I impact things in a way that I will be proud of.
All right, Natalie, what do you love to put on matzah?
Humorous.
Ooh, yeah. Do either of you like to eat gefilte fish?
No.
What is your favorite part about Sunday school?
Seeing my friends each week and talking about our weeks together. I like tefillah.
Good. And if you were to be a Jewish symbol, what would you be and why?
Star of David, because it's pretty. You took mine. But I would say Star of David because it's kind of everywhere and it like has a lot of meaning.
Where does the story of Passover take place?
In Egypt.
What do you win if you find the Afikomen?
Oh, I haven't done that in so long. In my house, you get a prize no matter what, and it's usually just something I ask for.
If you were to give your dog or cat a Jewish name, what would it be?
Rachel, because mine's Rachel. I don't have a dog or a cat, but I would probably name it David because that's really cute.
Chloe, Hayden, sing part of your favorite prayer or Jewish song.
Kehila, Kedosha, Kehila, Kedosha.
Welcome back to Beth-El Congregation's Day of Giving and Appreciation. As of a little bit ago, we raised $85,000. Our goal is still $100,000. Please keep it coming. Please open your hearts and write a check, or go on our website and make a contribution online. I'm looking out at all the things that we could use that would improve our congregational community. I'd like an engagement director to reach out to the community to help bring new people into our community. I'd like a cantor. And I would like a youth room for our kids. Oh, a youth room for our kids. I believe I see one of our kids.
Yeah, hi. Mr. Simon?
Yes, sir.
Do you know who I am?
Are you Moishe Middlestein?
I'm Moishe Middlestein. I'm a middle schooler.
I'm so glad to have you here. Would you like a youth room?
Yes. You know why? Because I'm in the middle grade of middle school. And that means bar mitzvah time. And we need our own youth room.
And that takes money.
Yeah, that's true. Now, let me ask you a question. I think I turned on the microphone this time.
Wow.
You know what? When Dr. Dollar was here, he's a little meshuggah. He didn't go to Wash U like my big brother. He's not that smart. He didn't turn on the mic. So you know what? He was out there and he was trying to do that singing along, and he was talking all about that. Dollars make the temple sound.
You know, that sounded great to me, but I bet the people out there couldn't hear him.
They couldn't hear him because he didn't turn on the mic. But guess what? Moishe did.
So what was Dr. Dollar going to say?
I don't remember anymore. I'm confused. Oh, by the way, I got a funny joke for you.
I'm listening.
What do you call a 6'9", 345-pound guy from Prague?
A big check.
A big check. See, I just happen to have one. Now, Nimder Gelt's going to be out here in a little bit, and he's going to talk about his big check that he wrote. He just let me have it. And oh, by the way, I believe there's an 18 on the end of there, right?
Oh yeah, 18. That's like high.
Wow, high. That's it. That's it. Well, I think that's, I hope everybody writes a big check just like this one.
It's a big check.
That's it.
Hi, I'm Bob Greenman, and our family have been a part of the fabric of this temple for over 60, 65 years. And I remember as a young boy, maybe 6 years old, after the temple burned on Broadway, going over there with my dad as he and other members helped clean out the damage of the fire. And my parents have been active here all those years, both my mother and my father. And I've been active here. I was confirmed here and have attended here 75 years. My main role is, I guess, of a volunteer. I'm in charge of both Jewish cemeteries in Fort Worth, the historical Old Cemetery on South Main, which is over 100 years old, and the Beth-El section of Greenwood. Beth-El section of Greenwood came about because many years ago, John Bailey Sr., the family that owns Greenwood Cemetery, had borrowed some money from some of the temple elders to install a sprinkler system. And prior to the maturity of that note, they exchanged the balance of the note for a section of Greenwood Cemetery. So the Beth-El section is the only privately owned part of Greenwood Cemetery.
I'm Judy Greenman, and I'm here because I married Bob. Born a Reformed Jew, and in Miami, where I grew up, we were married in Miami at my temple, and we moved here about 60 years ago. So we have been members since we joined. We've been active in the temple in all different areas, which we can talk about in a minute. Probably the most meaningful experience that I had, I volunteered a lot. I worked with the Sunday school, I worked with the sisterhood, I served on the board. In about 1998, I was president of the congregation, and we've talked a long time about moving from our downtown building to someplace else. And we were offered some land, and we ended up having a congregational meeting, and everybody had input. They said, we can build a building, but we have to have the money before we build it. We do not want a mortgage. And I thought, what am I getting into? I ended up chairing the fundraising part to make sure we did that. We had participation from over 85% of the congregation, some as much as pennies that the children gave, we had some very, very generous donors, and you see the names very subtly around the building. But the most meaningful part was when the people who were on the building committee asked me to join them as we went around the country in a couple of days to see other congregations. And we got to pick and choose things that were particularly meaningful, that really struck us. We came back and we had to share our vision, and we shared it with the architect. And then this beautiful building is a result of it. We had input, the membership had input into it, and to me, it's my other home that I helped build.
Another memory that is fond for me is being active in supporting the youth groups. And we used to have youth group conventions here at the temple for a long weekend. And we had housed all the kids from around the state that came to attend.
The temple has been evolving, certainly before my time, but during our time. I was a classical Reformed Jew, and I still consider myself one. And I think when we started here, our temple was a classical Reform. But Reformed Judaism has changed, and we've evolved with it. And I remember, in particular, when we started walking the Torah right before the Torah service, and Rabbi Mecklenburger put a Post-it right on his prayer book. When I sat on the pulpit, I saw there's the Post-it, it said, remember to walk the Torah. And after a while, that Post-it disappeared. It became a tradition of what we do. And we've made these kind of changes. We've moved the music from the back of the building to the front, because music is so much more important now. Some like more music, some don't, but we're going to keep changing, so stay tuned.
Do either of you like gefilte fish?
No.
No.
What do you win if you find the afikomen?
Like $5.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Can you name any of the 10 plates?
Locusts.
Does frogs count?
Yeah, the blood, their blood, death of the firstborn. What else is there? There's the one with crops. No, wait, that's locust. I don't know. I think that's all of them that I can remember.
Can you name any people from the Passover story? Who let them out?
Moses.
There you go.
Moses. I said Moses first.
All right, Chloe, sing part of your favorite Jewish prayer or song.
Did you quit?
Come on, you got this. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leShalom, leShalom.
This is Susan Zach Lewis.
And Bob Lewis, otherwise known as Tumbleweed Smith.
We live in Big Spring, 240 miles west of Fort Worth. Beth-El has been our spiritual home for more than 45 years. After we joined the temple, my parents, Clara and Jim Zach, also of Big Spring, became members of Beth-El too, and we were able to attend High Holy Holiday services as a family. Those were memorable and special times. We felt welcome and comfortable. Raleigh Shure often asked us to sit with her. My parents were quite touched by her generosity. We drove our two sons into Fort Worth to study with Rabbi Robert Shure once a month for their bar mitzvahs. In between those visits, and with the help of cassette tapes, we worked with them during Sunday school sessions in our home. Rabbi Mecklenberger made the trip to Big Spring to conduct services in '02 and '04 when my parents died. We participated in the groundbreaking, Torah walk, and dedication for the new Briarhaven location of Beth-El. I am a past president of the Texas Jewish Historical Society. In April of 2018, we held the annual gathering in Fort Worth. Hollis Weiner, Deidre Bahari Cezanne, and I co-chaired the meeting. We were warmly welcomed by the Beth-El community. I was so proud of my Beth-El. During the COVID shutdown, we began watching services on YouTube. It gave us a sense of inclusion during that horrible isolation and a feeling of connection to Rabbi Zimmerman. We haven't stopped watching. Our friends in Big Spring know that we're not available on Friday nights. We made an especially meaningful trip to Israel in November of 2022. It was led by Rabbi Mecklenberger, and we made several new friends from the congregation. It further cemented our bond. Beth-El is a constant in our lives. Distance has not diminished the connection. We look forward to many more years of participation with Beth-El Congregation in Fort Worth.
My name is Mimi Zimmerman.
I'm Rabbi Brian Zimmerman.
And we've been at Beth-El since 2016. Our kids were in 8th and 10th grade when we moved to Fort Worth, which can be a really hard transition. But it was made easy by the community at Beth-El and the warmth and the welcoming that we found here. The kids immediately got involved in the youth group, and they were confirmed here by their dad, which made it really special because that was something that wouldn't have happened if we were in Dallas. And they became madrachim in the religious school, and they just felt completely welcomed with open arms when they got here, and it was just a wonderful experience.
It was really nice to see how they fit right in and now feel like they're from Fort Worth and Beth-El is their community. That's pretty incredible since they were so old in high school when they moved. It was really, really nice.
I love the stained glass windows in the sanctuary. They're really amazing to look at during services. But then, of course, I'm looking at you. Oh. So I've enjoyed singing in the choir. I've always enjoyed singing, and I just never had that opportunity before. And it was, for me, an easy transition to join the choir, and especially enjoy singing on high holidays. It's really majestic. I've really found community in WRJ, and in particular this year with the book club, which has been a really inspiring activity.
Right. So it's been an interesting 8 years because COVID was in the middle. One of the things that makes Beth-El special, I think, is a sense of community in a city with not a lot of Jews, a few thousand Jews, 1 million people. And so I think it was an interesting and exciting challenge in a way to keep a congregation going and connected through Zoom and all of those things. But it was strange to be here alone with the music director and the soloist for all those Friday nights and that whole year. And so as people started to come back, it was really wonderful to see the community. There's some wonderful things we do. One of them that was great was Sukkot is this outdoor holiday that's not really super involved. For COVID, it was the only holiday we could really observe. And yet when the restrictions were lifted, we found that people gravitated to that less important, currently Jewish holiday. So that I found at that time of year, coming off the busyness of the holidays, one night the brotherhood's out there, and one night the sisterhood's out there, and they're having happy hour. The youth group is having a scavenger hunt, or we're having a study group. And every day a different sub-community is meeting and studying, or having a drink, or telling jokes. And I'll just go out there in the middle of the day, and it gets us outside of the sort of walls into this place without walls in the beautiful courtyard, where people are really community, looking after one another, studying with one another, kind of opening up their Jewish world. So, if you had told me 8 years ago, the Feast of Tabernacles, favorite Jewish holiday year, I would have said, really? But it really has come to symbolize and represent like the one member looking after another member, people forming in different groups, learning from people they might otherwise never talk to. I think at Beth-El, there's also a deep sense of history. When I'm in the sanctuary, I'm looking at faces. They're looking at windows and doors. I don't really see that. I see faces. When I'm in the chapel, where we are now, they get me and this blank wall. I get the windows, and I get the garden.
Garden.
You get the garden too. So I'm very aware of history. When I am up on the bima with the bar and bar mitzvah kids, even if it's their first generation, second generation Fort Worth, there's a sense that we are building the future in a place that honors the past. There's both here. And really being with those families who are now making this place their home, seeing that Fort Worth has a future, that there'll be future Jews, not just the past. It's a really powerful experience. Many of our kids go to schools with 1, 2, 3 Jewish kids in the whole school, really different than New York City or even Dallas. So to be with their parents when they pass the Torah and they tell their story and they say, you're the second generation of Fort Worth, and maybe there'll be a third generation, it really makes me feel like we're a part of continuing Jewish life, Jewish continuity. And to be with those kids and learn from them and hear their speeches and see them kind of nervous and then holding the Torah because they're worried they'll drop it and they don't, it makes us a part of their life. There are a lot of wonderful experiences here. One that has been really meaningful for me as a rabbi. As the rabbi, you're leading. Maybe you're in the mood for services, maybe you're not. Maybe you have something profound to say, maybe you don't. But you're really on guiding people. And for a year now, we've had a daily minyan. There's probably 15, 20 people involved, but they don't come every night. So we might have 4, we might have 8, and it is led by several members of the congregation. And so when I'm there, I'm able to be in a circle. Sometimes I'm really focused. Sometimes I lose my place. And I'm just one of them. I'm just part of the community.
Another special experience has been the Shabbat that we've had at our home with people coming for service and song with our student cantor, Samantha.
Saturday mornings. On
Saturday mornings, and having a little lunch afterwards. It's a really nice feeling to be able to have those people in our home.
The other thing that I think has been very meaningful is that the building is sort of like each room tells a different story. And so there's a conversion class that meets with me all year, just young seekers. And what you can't do in every synagogue is every month when we meet, I have to think about where we're going to be. Like, are we going to learn about Jewish books? Then we're going to go in the library. Are we going to learn about Jewish history? Then I bring them in the sanctuary, which is evocative of the temple in Jerusalem, or the Ark, which is Jewish learning. Or should we walk through the kitchen and talk about the importance of food? So it's really incredible on Tuesday nights to be able to think, what is the topic this week? And which part of the building should I bring them to see both history, but also a living, vibrant Judaism. And so that's been really wonderful to bridge the past and the present. And these conversion students are the future. So every new student who says, I'm going to become a Jew and I love Beth-El and this is my home, it's been really, really wonderful.
What is your favorite Passover food?
Oh, I really like haroset.
What do you win if you find the Afikomen?
Whatever my parents give me, usually a book or a toy.
Can you name any of the 10 plagues from the Passover story?
Like when all the firstborn children died.
What is your favorite part about Sunday school?
So I really like tefillah because we all get to sing together, and that's really fun.
Hi, I'm Eric Deutsch. I'm the president of Beth-El Men of Reformed Judaism, and I've been a member of the congregation since 2016. Along with my wife, Marjorie, we moved here from Dallas, and we were preceded here actually by our daughter, Nicole, and our granddaughter, Julianne, who joined the year before. And our story of coming to Beth-El is quite an interesting one. We were very active in our congregation in Massachusetts, where we used to live. I was actually president of the temple there. And then when we moved to Dallas, we actually never found a temple that fit us just right. So we were unaffiliated in Dallas for 9 years in Dallas. When our daughter got into law school in Fort Worth, we came and checked out the temple one Friday evening in April 2015. And basically, we never left. We just fell in love with the place, the most welcoming place there ever could be, from the rabbis, the members of the congregation. So Nicole and Julianne became active in the teaching religious school and attending religious school. And then when we joined the board. I joined the board and became very active in the Beth-El Men of Reformed Judaism. And now I'm in my third term as president. Maybe this will be my last one, but I don't know. There's an effort to keep me going, I think. But we love this place. It is the most personable, warm place. Just a couple personal stories. I can remember when my granddaughter was on the bus to go to Green Family Camp event, and she had to get off the bus because she had to go off and give the rabbi a big hug before she left. That's how special and warm the rabbi has been to our family. And then even during COVID, when we were putting together a video for the temple of some video content, they actually asked our granddaughter Julianne to do a video clip based on stuff that she liked to sing. So this place is just so welcoming, so innovative, so creative. And at the Beth-El Men of Reformed Judaism, we just have a great time. We do a lot for the temple. We cater. We put up the sukkah. We are greeters. We're streamers, and it's a phenomenal group of people. I hope those of you who would be interested in joining us will join us, because we love giving back to the temple. We just had our big Mickey Goldman thing a couple weeks ago where we honored one of our own, Jim Stein, and gave away collegiate scholarships and camperships. So thank you for being part of Beth-El. We love this place, and I hope you have a great afternoon.
Welcome to Emmanuel Hebrew Rest Cemetery. Behind these garden gates is a beautiful, nostalgic acre of land. The land was a gift to the Israelites of this city more than 145 years ago. Civic leader John Peter Smith was donating land for cemeteries for Catholics and Protestants. He talked to his friend Sam Levy. "Where shall I set aside land for the Jews of the city?" he must have asked him. That was April of 1879. 6 months later, a Jewish girl died. Let's take a look at her grave marker. She was Leah Kaiser. She was age 4.5. Her family was glad they had a special place to lay their child to rest. One of the grandest stones in the cemetery belongs to Nate Washer. He had the largest haberdashery in the Southwest. He was quite a fellow. He was head of the Chamber of Commerce. On his tombstone, there is a quote from Shakespeare. It says, "This was a man." In fact, his plot was large enough for 5 more people, but his family moved to San Antonio. Recently, an heir was located who donated the empty plots back to Beth-El. 5 more people can purchase plots here. The first 2 Jewish settlers in Fort Worth are buried here as well. Simon Gabert, he fought in the Civil War on the side of the Union, and he died with a Confederate bullet still lodged in his leg. Jacob Samuels fought with the Confederate cavalry. You can tell that by the Confederate battle flag that's sculpted on his tombstone. The two gentlemen, one who fought for the North and one for the South, are a stone's throw apart, showing that our Jewish community had diversity from the start. Buried in this cemetery are also 21 people from among the founding families of Beth-El, the Reformed congregation. Way back along the fence line is Mary Goldstein. Her son, William, was the founding president of Ahavat Shalom, which began as an Orthodox synagogue. Her tombstone presents a riddle. The only date on it is in Hebrew. It says the year she died was 5654 on the Hebrew calendar. What is that on the American calendar? The answer is Mary died in 1895. Here's another tombstone with a riddle. Mrs. Roy McCormick. There's no first name. The last name is definitely not Jewish. This was a mystery. How to solve it? We found her death certificate from 1915 and learned she was a Jewish girl born in Columbus, Georgia. She was married in a Methodist church. When she died of tuberculosis at the age of 36, she wanted to be buried in this beautiful Jewish cemetery. She had one daughter. Her daughter was sent back to Georgia and raised by relatives. That was where her mother had grown up. Today, her descendants still practice Judaism. Hebrew Rest is also a pauper cemetery, a place to bury Jews who cannot afford a funeral, much less a tombstone. And here's a surprising pauper, A.L. Neiman, as in Neiman Marcus, the fabled department store. Look at his stone. His full name was Abraham Lincoln Neiman, born on the 4th of July. He was raised at the Cleveland Jewish Orphanage. He was a born salesman. When he was old enough to go out on his own, he ended up in Fort Worth. He conducted huge clearance sales in Fort Worth and in Dallas. And in Dallas, that's where he met and fell in love with Carrie Marcus. With her brother, Herbert Marcus, the three of them opened the famous, fabulous Neiman Marcus store. Well, Al turned out to be a flamboyant womanizer. There was a scandal. Carrie divorced him. The business divorced him. He died in poverty, living rent-free in the home for aged Masons in Arlington. When he died, the Masonic home called Rabbi Bob Schur in Fort Worth and asked if he would officiate at the funeral and bury him in the Masonic cemetery. Rabbi Schur insisted that the man be buried in a Jewish cemetery, and Beth-El would cover the cost. We are proud to be the caretakers of this landmark. Every stone tells a story. Routine maintenance is $20,000 a year, but it needs much more than mowing and weeding. Stones that fall over need to be uprighted. Grave markers are sinking into the earth. We are stewards of this cemetery for only a brief time. Help us keep it beautiful and in good repair. It is a treasure to preserve.
If you find the Afikoman, what happens? You get a prize? What do you get? You get money? Can you say that?
Money.
Okay. What's your favorite song that we sing during Hebrew? What is it? Put it to your mouth. Is it the alphabet? Say it. Say the alphabet.
Alphabet.
Okay, let's see. What's your favorite place in the temple? Where do we go that you like? Where do we go? Put it to your mouth. Where do we go? Do you like music? Do you like music? Tefillah?
Yes. Tefillah.
Okay.
What is your favorite Passover food?
Matzo balls.
What is your favorite part about Sunday school?
That you get to go play outside.
Where is your favorite place in the temple?
The classroom.
If you were to give your cat a Jewish name, what would it be?
Menorah.
My name is Robert Simon, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as your president, the president of Beth-El Congregation. I want to talk a little bit about what Beth-El Congregation means to me. Beth-El Congregation to me is family, and it's family in three senses: a historical sense, a personal sense, and a communal sense. Historically, I am fortunate enough to be the great-great-grandson of one of the founders of this congregation. And my family has been a member since the congregation began in 1902. And I am the fourth generation in my family to serve as president. My great-grandfather, my grandfather, my father, and I have also had the great pleasure and privilege of serving as president of this congregation. And it's one of the greatest honors that I can imagine. And now talk a little bit about what this means to me personally. Beth-El is where my Jewish journey began. This is where I was named as a baby. I had my bar mitzvah here and my confirmation, and I was married by Rabbi Mecklenburger. And after Cindy and I had children, we had our baby namings in Beth-El Congregation, and our kids had their bar and bat mitzvahs and their confirmations, and I hope that one day they will have the great privilege of being married in this congregation. That's one of my fondest hopes as a parent here and as a Jew. And I want to talk a little bit about what this congregation means to us communally. This place is where we come to pray. It's where we come to learn. Sometimes where we come to mourn when members of our community or members of our family die. And it's the place where we come to celebrate. And we've had a great deal to celebrate through these many years. And it's also the place where we just come to be together as Jews, to share each other's company in fellowship and in friendship as members of the same community. And Beth-El is to me, and I hope to all of us, an important part of our lives, something that has enriched my life and the life of my family more than I can express. Over the course of my many years at Beth-El, I've met a lot of different people. The one who is probably most memorable to me was Livia Levine. Livia Levine was a Holocaust survivor. She was born in Czechoslovakia. She was deported to Auschwitz. She survived until liberation by the Red Army on the end of January of 1945. But she talked about that experience of surviving Auschwitz in a very deep and personal way, and it was one of the most meaningful, memorable, chilling, but also memorable experiences that I can recall about the importance of being Jewish and about surviving as a Jew under circumstances that are just unimaginably difficult. One of the great advantages of belonging to a synagogue, particularly one like this, is that you get to meet people who've had very different life experiences and to learn from them in a way that you would not, because the people you meet casually, even if you get to know them a little bit, they're not going to tell you about their experiences in Auschwitz. They're not going to tell you about the deportation train and surviving under those horrible circumstances and what it meant to be a Jew and to continue to be a Jew and to be proudly Jewish after having been through something like that. The only way you would meet a person like that is and have the opportunity to learn from a person like that is in a place where Jews come together communally. And when I say communally, I mean close to each other, person to person, communally in a way that you would be unable to achieve merely, on television or talking to someone, through an electronic device. That sort of personal or interpersonal communication is deeply moving, and it is not something that would ever happen to you outside the context of a close Jewish community. Well, good afternoon. We are your 2020 3, 2024 Beth-El Congregation Board of Directors. I am Robert Simon. It has been my honor and pleasure, great privilege to serve as your president for the past year and for the upcoming year.
And this time I have the
I'm Samay Deweese Cooper, and I am the secretary on the board.
Hello, I'm Eve Schulman. I'm the first vice president of the board.
Carl Rosenblum, member of the board and chair of our security committee.
Rick Press, member of the board and editor of the Temple Beth-El Bulletin.
This is Marty Rubinson, member of the board.
Connor Maxson, FWIFTY co-president.
Erica Beckerman, member of the board and chair of the education committee.
Eric Deutsch, member of the board and president of Men of Reformed Judaism.
Sheldon Levy, treasurer.
Russ Schultz, immediate past president.
Brian Zimmerman, rabbi.
Ben Rosenthal, member of the board and president of the endowment board.
John Siegel, member of the board, also Tarrant County Constable. I assist with Carl on the security committee.
Red Goldstein, board member, chair of the cemeteries committee.
Angie Friedman, member of the board.
Thank you, all of you. And to you, the members of the congregation, as I said, it's been our honor and our privilege to serve as your board of directors for the past year. Now, for the important part. Beth-El Congregation is an amazing place. It is a wonderful congregational family, but like any other institution, it takes money. It takes money to pay our employees. It takes money to maintain the building and to keep the lights on. Please give generously whatever you can. Thank you. Welcome back. This will be our final update for today's Beth-El Day of Appreciation and Giving. Later on, when we have a final accounting, we'll announce it to the congregation, but this will be the last update for today. Thus far, we have collected about $90,000 towards our goal of $100,000. Please help us get to our goal. You can go on the Beth-El website and donate, or you can send us a check. However you wish to donate, however your heart moves you, please help us out. It's very important. And I want to emphasize to you, all of your dollars go to support this congregation, to help us to keep the lights on, pay our staff, and then to help us achieve some of our longer term goals, like hiring a cantor and an engagement director. And all these things we do for ourselves and we do for you. So please help us out. It's very important. Every gift of the heart helps, no matter how much. Oh, it looks like we have another guest.
So let me turn on the microphone. Let me turn on the microphone this time and make it much louder so that the people can finally hear. You know, the little kid, he was out here. You couldn't hear him. The guy with the dollar thing, you couldn't hear him either, right? Yeah, my sugar.
Right? You're a Nimder Gelt, right?
Nimder Gelt. I'm multi-billionaire. Yes, I'm multi-billionaire. Look, I give $1 bazillion to Beth-El. This should help get you over the $100,000 mark. You think?
We'll take it.
Well, you know what? It's not really good check because I don't really have exactly $1 zillion. But the most important thing is I've got the chai at the end because it's good for the neshama. Okay?
The soul.
The soul, yes. You should make your donation really big. Mnoshka bolshaya, okay? Big check. And do it with your heart. And together, what do we say?
We say thank you. We say thank you for everything you've done. We say thank you for all of your contributions. And I'd like to invite Ruth Roper, the chairman of this fundraising committee, up to thank everyone who worked on bringing you this day of appreciation and giving, none of which could happen without you. But a number of volunteers have worked on this, and Ruth is going to recognize them.
Get the microphone down to where Ruthie can hear.
Thank you all, members and friends. This could not have been possible without the committee. And let me recognize our wonderful MC, Red Goldstein, who's worked very, very hard and for hours and hours, Mark Sloter, and our president, Robert Simon, who's done an amazing job of making this all happen. Our committee today, the members that I've just mentioned, and our streamers, Carl Rosenblum, Jay Martin, and a member of our committee as well, Jeff Kaitzer, Eve Schulman, Bruce and Hollis Weiner, Jim Stein, and the MRJ for providing lunch. Please give if you haven't given. Our doors are open. We'll always be here to receive you. Thank you very much from Beth-El Congregation.
Shalom.
Ashki Venu.